Well, I'm sitting in the car while my younger son does rugby, and I thought I'd start right at the very beginning with the diagnosis. My son was diagnosed in May 2014 with chronic fatigue. That was the official diagnosis. But I would say probably for a couple of years before that, he was feeling ill. I must have had every blood test under the sun just for feeling poorly. He felt constantly sick. We had stomach scans, um, brain scans for feeling dizzy, and all these tests will come back positive with, and when I say positive, I mean with nothing wrong. And then it got to the summer before he started senior school. We all had a really bad chest and cough virus. We got over ours and he didn't. And I eventually went back to the doctors and I said, do you know what? I think you really need to check his immune system because he just can't seem to get rid of these bugs. So, more blood tests. And again, they all come back fine. Don't show anything up. You start to worry, start to think, what is this? And at no point did any of the doctors suggest to me that he may have chronic fatigue. I'll go on to talk about school in another video, but one teacher at school said to me, have you considered the fact that he may have ME? And I had, but my mind just wouldn't go there. So eventually I went back to the doctors after doing many hours of research on my own, and I said, I think we need to consider the fact that he has chronic fatigue. Go back to the hospital, go to see the consultant, and then we got the official diagnosis, like I say, in 2014. You will hear different terms. You'll hear chronic fatigue syndrome, sorry, you'll hear CFS, you'll hear ME, you'll even hear CFS-PV, which is chronic fatigue syndrome post-viral. Hospitals tend to use CFS, but at the end of the day, they're going to mean the same thing. And as is explained to us, when your child becomes unable to attend school, and like I said, we'll talk about school in another video, school's going to need a label. So for that point of view, you need a diagnosis. You need to have something on paper to say what your child is suffering from. The downside of having a label is that it could mask other illnesses. So you can't put everything down to the fact that your son has chronic fatigue. You've got to be really careful of other symptoms coming up, and don't just say, oh, it's down to the chronic fatigue, oh, it's down to chronic fatigue. So in that respect, a label could potentially mask other things. But like I say, you will need a label for school and a whole host of other stuff that I will go on to talk about. So that was our journey of diagnosis. 2 years of at least suffering different symptoms before we got the official diagnosis. Pros and cons of having a label. And my advice would be, yes, you're going to need the label, you're going to need the diagnosis on a piece of paper, because when it comes to school attendance, that's the biggie. That's the one you're going to have it for. So that was our journey. You may find you're in a similar situation, but if you watch my other videos, like I say, we'll talk about other aspects that will come up. Okay, good luck, and continue watching. Okay.